Welcome. In this class, we'll discuss the concept of renewable energy. We'll have a special focus on India, especially the 2022 goals that are to be achieved. Now, in India, the substantial portion of the energy comes from coal, which is nearly 57%. And next to that, you have the hydropower, the hydroelectric power, and finally you have natural gas at the third ranking. So if we leave besides coal, both specifically I would say the hydroelectric power is an important source of renewable energy, and renewable energy or renewable resources are those resources which are not depleted. For example, energy from wind, energy from sun, energy from running water, tides, waves, geothermal energy, so on and so forth. Now all these energy have recently gained importance globally, as well as if we talk specifically about India, because of the rising problem of carbon emissions, which we have covered in the class on carbon trading and Kyoto Protocol. Now this problem of carbon emission can be curbed or can be controlled greatly with the use of renewable energy. Now if we talk about India, India is among the 11th largest economy and the 4th largest in terms of purchasing power. So India has definitely huge potentials ahead for renewable energy. Now this is the world scenario if we look at, and the potential areas for development globally. Now if it comes to the wind energy, India has a good say or good stake in terms of wind energy potentials besides North America, Europe and Australia. Then in terms of biomass, again India has a huge substantial contribution or good potential. The maximum potential lies with the Eurasia region and the South American region. If we move on to hydroelectricity, again the regions of North America, South America and Russia have good potentials for HEP. However, India also stands at a good potential country here. And in terms of solar energy, definitely India is among the leading ones among the all nations here that are shown. Now, in terms of solar energy, in the previous class where we talked about the expected questions, we have already covered that how International Solar Alliance, which has recently been established, works around the development of solar energy in the tropical belt, and that tropical belt covers nearly 121 nations which are having good sunlight and can use that sunlight effectively as solar energy. Now these are the potential zones globally. If we move on to Indian scenario, we can see maximum production, nearly 60%, as I said 57 before, comes from coal. The remaining comes from HEP and natural gas, and then of the remaining renewable energy, which is 13%, you mainly have wind, biomass, biogas and solar energy as the main components here. Now at present, if we talk about the installed capacities, you have 263 gigawatts, of which you have renewable energy which stands only at 34 gigawatts. Now our aim is to increase this 34 gigawatt to 175 gigawatts nearly by 2022. So that's the goal that we need to achieve, and we are planning to work forward for it. Now to achieve this goal, the Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Resources, the MNES, has launched one of the world's largest and ambitious program for renewable energy development. It talks about powering with nearly 3,700 megawatt renewable energy resources, and talks about rural electrification by 2012 for 1 lakh villages, and most of these villages would be electrified using solar panels. Now as we have already talked about the Indian scenario, as I said, coal is mainly confined to the central and northeast India. So the remaining regions of India have huge potentials for the kind of the non-conventional, I would say, the renewable sources of energy. Now we'll discuss each and every renewable sources one by one. So the first is the HEP, the hydroelectric power. Now, the hydroelectric power is the energy that comes from water. Most of the water, as I said, account from the Ganga Brahmaputra region. So you have the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, that's the northeastern states, and the central states of UP and Bihar. Along with that, you have the area of West Coast, you have the Mumbai to Mahe region. So all those areas are areas of heavy rainfall. Along with that, you have the riverine tracts. So all these are the major centers where you can develop potential hydroelectric power. Now in India, there have been nearly 4095 sites that have been identified for small hydroelectric power projects, and those small hydroelectric power projects account for production of less than 25 megawatts. Since it's a kind of small proportion that could be produced, but that small proportion could definitely lead to supply of electricity in the nearby villages and the community. So even small HEPs could generate a lot of renewable source of energy. Again, what is required is the existing hydroelectric power projects require renovation and modernization, the upgradation of water mills, and kind of lot of research and development that must go into it. If we talk about the global scenario, the largest hydroelectricity producing countries are China, Canada, Brazil, USA and Russia. If we come in terms of the highest electricity generation from hydro plants, its highest is China, Brazil and Canada. However, the largest HEP production was in China and Canada. But here, when we talk about consumption for electricity purposes, the order changes from China to Brazil. That's next is Brazil. Now next is the solar energy. We already talked about the International Solar Alliance. That's a treaty of 121 nations. Now between the Tropic of Cancer and Equator, where you have the primary location of India, you have a temperature that ranges from 25 degrees to 27 degrees on an average. So if we talk in terms of country-wise solar input that is being generated, you have highest with Germany, that's nearly 38.2, with India standing at 3.3. However, the current standards are less. We have a huge potential to increase in terms of solar energy. So what could be done? Some of the major initiatives are photovoltaic cells. They are low energy and they do not have much moving parts, so they do not require frequent maintenance and frequent kind of maintenance charges that are put in. Then you have mirrors and parabolic dishes. These parabolic dishes try to concentrate the solar energy. For example, you have a parabolic solar cooker. So it would concentrate the energy towards the center and would produce more heating. So mirrors and parabolic dishes are used. Then at present you have an installed capacity of 3744 megawatts as of 2015. The highest capacity lies with Gujarat, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Now as we talked about in terms of installed capacity, you have highest with Germany, China and Italy. Now next is the India's mission is named as the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission. It was launched in 2010. It talks about using nearly 20,000 megawatts of grid connection for solar electricity by 2022. So it would be a kind of ecologically sustainable move, because once installed they would have low maintenance cost and would not adhere to additional cost. Again, 15 million square meters of solar thermal collectors are to be installed by 2017, and this has to be raised by 20 million by 2022. Again, we aim to deploy nearly 20 million solar lighting systems specifically in rural areas. So once the rural areas are lighted by solar power, are based on solar power, the energy consumption would definitely decrease, and it would decrease the monthly and yearly cost for the individuals. Now applications, we mainly talk about the use of solar energy in terms of water heating. So you have water heaters, then for cooking or domestic use, and mainly it's in the form of concentration of solar energy. So you have the road lighting, the solar panels, the solar panels for factories, industries. Now this concentration of solar power was mainly started by the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, and it kinds of use the direct normal radiations that comes from solar rays, and it tries to heat in this and produce steam generation and electricity generation. Now if we talk about the growth of solar energy in India from 2010 to 2022, what we intend to achieve is to raise the grid power from nearly 1000 or 2000 to 20,000. The off-grid solar applications should be raised from 200 to 2000, and finally the solar collectors being raised from 7 million to 20 million. So we are focusing on a big leap in terms of solar energy and solar generation in coming years. Now you have 13 states in India which support the solar policy and are planning to connect the rooftop systems for solar energy generation. So these are the 13 states which have already given their approval. The others are on the way. Now you have 17 solar parks that have already been approved with an installed capacity of 13,000 megawatts. So you have the main parks that are being highlighted. Some of the important ones are the Badla and Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh, Anantapur in Andhra Pradesh are the major power plants that are being proposed. So once these solar parks are being established, it would definitely change the scenario of energy consumption in India. Now the next energy that comes into light is the wind energy. If we talk in terms of India, the highest wind energy, the installed capacity lies with Tamil Nadu, followed by Maharashtra and Gujarat. However, if we talk about potentials, Andhra Pradesh has the highest potential for wind generation, followed by Gujarat. So you have Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat and Karnataka, which are still to be developed to reach the installed capacity as already been done by Tamil Nadu. Now wind energy is one of the fastest growing markets in India next to Germany. So you have numerous plants that are coming in which are based on wind energy. The current installed capacity is nearly 22,000 megawatts. If we look at the scenario, you have 114 megawatts for China. So India has a long way to reach to the wind potentials if we want to match it with that of China. So these are the top 5 producing nations, the wind power producing nations, and in this top 5 you have India, but India has definitely a step forward where it can bring in more revolutions in terms of wind energy generation. The next is biomass energy. The top nations in terms of biomass at present are Brazil and United States. It's mainly due to the low cost of the biomass, and it's a kind of indigenous supply which has been developed. It includes mainly the solid biomass, the biogas, the liquid biofuels and the municipal waste, the sewerages. We'll see the major sources in the next slide. Now you have kind of various forms from where you get the biomass. From agriculture, it's mainly the sugarcane bagasse. From forestry, it's the paper and pulp residues, and from livestock you have the manure. Now there are various methods to process the biomass. You either burn them by means of combustion, you gasify them to produce biogas, then there is fermentation and anaerobic digestion, through which you have in that process you have the release of liquid biofuels. Now the potential biomass production regions in India are Andhra Pradesh has the highest potential, followed by Bihar and Gujarat. If we look into the sources, you have the sewage, agricultural residue, forest residue, industrial waste, animal residue and the municipal waste, the solid waste. So all these are the major sources. The next comes the tidal energy. Tidal energy can be harnessed by 2 ways. One is the steam generators, which use the tides when they come in, the high tide and the low tide, and the barrage generation. Now South Korea, China and United Kingdom are the highest producer of tidal power. The Siva Lake has the highest installed capacity in the world for tidal power generation. Now tidal power is somehow sporadic in nature, so it's not a constant supply of energy that you get. India definitely has the huge coastline where you can harness the tidal power. However, it would amount to or account to a small fraction of the total kind of renewable energies in India. Similar to tidal power, you have the wave power, that's again found mainly in South Korea and Australia. South Korea, it's mainly because it has a kind of exposed peninsula. You have ocean on 3 sides, surrounded by 3 sides. Again, as we said, similar to tidal power, wave power is also sporadic in nature, and it's not a kind of constant supply which you can get. The next is geothermal energy. Of the total geothermal energy that is present globally, only 6.5 is harnessed. That means you have a step forward to go in terms of geothermal energy. Now, only few of the countries produce more than 15% of their total electricity from geothermal sources. That is mainly El Salvador, Kenya, Philippines, Iceland and Costa Rica. Now, if we talk about in terms of installed capacity, the highest installed capacity lies with United States, followed by Philippines and Indonesia. As you can see, this list does not cover India. So, India does have the geothermal sources of energy like in Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh, then you have regions in Sikkim. But still, much of it is in the kind of unharnessed form. Now, what are the targets that India tend to achieve by 2022 in terms of renewable energy? As I said, we tend to achieve a target of 175 gigawatts, coming up or jumping from 34 gigawatts nearly. So, this would form nearly 18.9% of the total power consumption in India by then. Of this, if we bifurcate this 175 gigawatts, 100 gigawatts would come from solar power, 60 from wind, 10 from biomass, 5 from small hydropower. Now, these are the kind of direct questions that are usually asked in objective papers. So, you need to know the targets and the bifurcation of the targets. Now, of this 100 gigawatts of solar power energy, of this 40 gigawatts would come from the rooftop solar panels that are being established. Now, India tends to achieve 147 gigawatt at least by 2020 and then jump forward to 175 gigawatts by 2022. For this, there is a target of 160 billion that is required in the next 7 years. That accounts for nearly 23 billion per year, and this would account for nearly 4 times the spending we have in terms of defense and nearly 10 times the spending on healthcare. So, definitely achieving this target requires huge input or one-time investment, I would say. And finally, you have the Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, IREDA, that is working heavily to work for establishment of solar projects and wind power sections in India. Now, it has provided some of the interesting facts for India. First of all, it provides income tax breaks. There is a kind of accelerated depreciation that can be seen, and that is 100% on specific renewable energy based devices. The custom duties or duty free import concessions have been provided. You have subsidy on interest and capital, and then you have incentives if you provide detailed project reports and feasibility reports. So, all this has come into lieu with the development of renewable energy and the idea of decreasing the carbon emissions or curbing the carbon emissions. So, this was our class on renewable energy and our targets for 2022. We will be covering another class where we will talk about the energy independence by 2030. So, you can subscribe to our channel for more updates regarding topics on environment. Have a good day ahead.